Hey, everybody, welcome back. This is HSC Podcast 100, 100 even, and season or episode 1 of season 5. So we start a whole new season here. We took a little bit of break after the Super Bowl, and now we get into what sports are left, talk more about NFL as it comes up with draft, things like that. Get back into top fives, which is fun. We do one today, but also the biggest thing's March Madness, right? That's our next, I don't know, 3 or 4 podcasts, probably at least. So talk about tournament, what's going on in college basketball, one of the best times a year for sports. So if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and like. Spotify listeners, appreciate the listens. So let's get into it. In honor of March Madness tournament winners, I got a fun trivia game for you guys. You guys ready for some trivia?
Okay.
So this is NCAA tournament winners. Okay. You guys are naming the school that won. I'm going to give you the year and a player on the team.
Right.
So
we're
I'll
not
give
talking
you
like the 12th man, are
and
we?
you got to give me the name of the school, right?
Okay.
Not super hard, but I had to tell you as I looked through the list, it was pretty tough for me. But so the first few are pretty easy. So we'll start with Derek. You're gonna go first. 2015, Grayson Allen.
Duke.
All right, Wes. 1998, Nazir Muhammad.
1998, Kentucky.
Oh yeah, good job. I knew you'd get that one. Derek, you definitely will get this one. 1993, George Lynch.
North Carolina.
Yeah. Wes, you'll probably definitely get this one. 1997, Jason Terry.
Arizona.
Derek will definitely get this one. 2004, Ben Gordon.
UConn.
Wes, 2019, DeAndre Hunter.
Virginia.
Job, Wes.
Oh, it's where they get a little tougher. Derek, 1983, Thurl Bailey.
NC State.
Jimmy V. Wes, 1987, Keith Smart.
Indiana.
Good job. Derek, you better get this one. 1984, David Wingate.
Georgetown.
It's that happened to come back on you. And the final tough one, last one's a little bit harder than the rest. 1960, Wes. John Havlicek.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no, don't do me. San Francisco, I don't
know.
know.
Derek?
Man. Ohio State.
Yep. Got it.
Dude.
Pull it out. Derek for the win.
Dude.
I don't know. I was thinking, 1960, you're not going to have the Big East. And just Havlicek sounded like someone who might be in the
Midwest. Could you say
He sounds like he lives in Ohio.
Yeah.
That's such an Ohioan name. John Havlicek. Good. I mean, you guys did well. There was a couple in there, like Wes pulled out Keith Smart. That's a tough one.
Yeah, New Indiana, yeah.
Thurl Bailey, but the problem was it was 1983.
Yeah.
Well, I knew because I've watched the 30 for 30 on NC State. So I knew Thurl Bailey. That was easy.
Yeah.
I could have just said if you said Thurl Bailey, I could have got that one. Most of them, if you said that's the player.
Right. Like you didn't even need school for or for the year, because
Yeah.
most of us don't know the years anyway.
Right.
Right. We're just basing on players, but still, that's pretty good. That's good.
You didn't put any UNLV in there, nothing like
Well,
that.
it's too easy.
Yeah.
Because then I have to like grab like random bench players, dude, and like nobody's. Because if I say someone, you're gonna know them,
Like Greg Cadillac Anderson, man.
right? Well, that was the problem. As I was looking at him, I was like, well, I could put John Smith on there, but they're never gonna get that.
Right.
But then everybody that you would know, like we got, so. But it's good.
Well,
That's
yeah.
good.
I don't. Who was on George Lynch's team? I don't know.
Montross.
Okay. Was that Stackhouse then?
No. Well, it's McGinnis,
Okay.
Montross, Lynch. A good power forward too. They had somebody else a power forward, but they had a good team.
Right.
Because Stackhouse was with Wallace for the first year, and then he might have played with McGinnis too. I mean, Lynch may have been. Yeah, he may have been there,
Well, let's see here.
but not for the championship game though. That championship they won, Carter wasn't on the team.
No, and Wallace.
Donald Williams, that was the big one.
Oh, I was definitely not going to put Donald Williams on there because you would know that too easily. Because you remember I was Donald Williams.
Yeah. I'm trying to find. Oh, yeah, and he was the top scorer, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like McGinnis, Montross, Williams, Lynch. That's probably the best players from that team.
Oh, that must not have been. It must have been.
So Wes, dude, as we're talking about college basketball, you were talking about the, rushing the courts, right?
Yeah, the court storming.
Yeah, the court story. So have you seen the videos of Lipkowski?
I saw a close up. His initial reaction looked like he was going to elbow somebody, right? Just
He
because
took out a girl.
huh?
Did you see that? He like a girl almost flipped over.
He stuck out his foot.
Oh yeah.
So in the video, I don't know if that's what I was asking. You saw this. He injured, he came off like injured foot, but he sticks out his foot to like trip someone. So I mean, yeah, should court storming, could potentially, and it's ended up in a lot of injuries before, but Flipkowski really like did that himself.
You mean he hurt his knee by sticking out?
He stuck it out and tried to and tripped the person running in front of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and here's my thing. Okay, you play for Duke or you play for any of those, blue bloods. If you go on an away game and you lose, they're storming the court. Maybe try and get off a little faster. Or don't lose.
And he was one of the only ones still on the court.
Yeah, because he was moping.
Right. But he's still like, if you stick your leg out and then it gets hit when you were trying to trip someone and then you come up injured, like that's kind of your fault.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think they've talked about it a little bit too much and they've lamented over it a little bit too much because you're not stopping it. And I love it how people get on, ESPN or something and they're just like coming up with solutions. You can't even believe some of these ideas. Like I can't even believe someone will actually think that you're going to well, we'll give a 1 minute runoff at the end of the game. And everyone can shake hands, and then they can storm the court. Of course these kids are going to do that. Of course they're going to wait a minute. Sure.
Michael Jr. had a great one. It was get a sponsorship with like Taco Bell or something. And then if they don't rush the court, then they get free tacos.
Free taco card.
Yeah. Because how do you get to college students? Food.
Well, I mean, it's like general people these days. Like, hey, here's a bunch of free taco cards. Go over here. It's just herding the cattle.
Here, just eat this. You know?
Yeah.
Just, I don't know.
Get off my windshield.
Get off my windshield. Dude.
So talking about college basketball again, let's go back to that for a second. So did you see UConn dropped 2 spots to number 3?
Losing to Creighton, right?
Right. You lose to Creighton, who's a pretty good team.
Right.
And then they have the same record as Houston and Purdue, but yet you move UConn back to 3 with that same record after losing to a pretty good Creighton team.
Well, though Houston did beat
Baylor.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I mean, that's the same thing. It's expected.
I could see him moving down to 2, not 3. That's kind of
right.
Well,
I would probably see that's the problem because Houston's number 1 now.
Yeah.
And Houston had a big win against Baylor. And UConn a big loss against Creighton. So maybe you do swap them, but Purdue didn't do anything to be better than UConn.
Right. And I mean, yeah. I mean, to me, though, it doesn't really matter. If you're in the top 4, you're a 1 seed in the tournament. It doesn't really.
They're going to be a 1 seed. It doesn't really matter. They could not even win their own tournament, and they'll be a 1 seed.
Well, but look at what happened to Baylor, though, right? They lost to Houston. Yeah, they lost a tough game to BYU before that, but then you lose to Houston and you go down all the way to, barely in the top 20. That hurts when you go into the tournament there. Now you're not talking about 1 seeds. You're talking about like 5 and 6 seeds. And
right.
I don't think if you lose to Houston, you drop. Like, why would you drop when you lose to the number 1 team, at the time, the number 2 team?
Wow.
So the reason I'm saying that is because I think Baylor is when you're talking about tournament, that's someone I think you need to watch out for.
Yeah, Baylor's starting to really turn it on. I watched them the other night. I mean, they got size. They hit the 3. Yeah, they look. I think that they can make a run.
Well, how much weight do you guys put in the Creighton win? Because Creighton always plays well anyway. But if you can beat UConn,
no, Creighton. I picked them for the Final Four last year, and they just came up short. They probably should have made it, but they almost returned to everybody. Shireman can shoot. Kalkbrenner for a 7-footer. That dude is really agile. I mean, he's really good around the rim.
Right. No, great. He's right inside the key for sure.
And Trey Alexander. I mean, he could put the ball on the floor and get to the hole. I mean, they got good players. I think they can make a run.
If you could beat UConn, it's a pretty good chance you could beat anybody.
Yeah, right. They'd be 15 too. I mean, it's not like it was that close.
No, yeah, they handled them.
But then
was that what it was? A 15-point game?
Yeah, but then Creighton lost by 15 to St. John's, which I think you can't lose St. John's by 15. Come on.
And Tino's now got them pulling. He's telling them that they suck, and now he's bringing them out.
But college basketball, you're always going to have 2 or 3, 4 losses as the top teams, and sometimes that's going to be to a random team because you had an off night or whatever. And so you could lose to, Western Kentucky by 20, and then you still your number 1 seed in the ACC or the Big East or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's like Baylor losing to BYU, and then you lose back to back to Houston after that.
You know what? BYU's not bad. BYU can do some damage in this tournament. They're actually pretty good.
Well, they beat Baylor, so obviously they got a good team.
They handled Baylor. I was like, whoa. I was like, they're actually pretty good.
And didn't they lose to like Boise State or somebody though?
Right. I was looking at that. Have you seen some of the top 25s, right? Like
Well, hold on.
Southern Florida, Utah State.
Well, Utah State's out, I think, because they lost.
The last ranking I looked at, though, Utah State was like 19 or 20 or something like that.
Dude. BYU just beat Kansas tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
They beat Kansas by 8 points. Like that's a big win for them. Hall's a beat. He had 18 points. I mean, they're pretty darn good. I would, I'm gonna put them up there somewhere in Elite Eight.
Well, yeah, BYU lost to Kansas State, not BYU, Boise State.
But Kansas State's good. That's another team that's a sleeper.
Either way, like when you're going from a BYU to a Kansas State, even if they're not ranked, they're tough, right?
Yeah.
Comparatively. It's like any other conference play in the SEC in football.
So BYU has a Big 12 schedule, I guess.
Isn't that weird? They do. It's strange. I don't understand. They're just like one of those things. They're an independent, so they have to. I guess
maybe they're going to make that push for the Big 12.
Yeah. Looking at what was it?
So what I was going to ask, so what I want to talk about is conference tournaments, right? So got conference tournaments getting ready soon. When you look at these teams coming out of their conference tournaments, winning the tournament, maybe that gets them in, or they're hot in the tournament. How much weight does that hold going into the actual NCAA tournament if they make it at that point?
It depends on the team. If you got a team that has been up and down all year, but then all of a sudden gets hot, then they're a team to worry about in the tournament because they're hot. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some teams, like I think the 1 seed types, they're not, if they lose, it's no big deal. They're still going to be tough.
Or even if they win, they've been ahead the whole year.
Yeah.
So my more of the question is because I don't know statistics on this, but my feeling is that teams that went into their tournament and won it from maybe a 5, 6, 7, 8 seed or whatever, and then got into the tournament seem to be moved further. So I think like watching the tournaments matter, like watching the conference tournaments matter because those are the teams that I feel like if you see them come out hot from there, they're probably going to have a good tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, seems like.
So if you're like thinking about your building your bracket, though, that's something you should look at.
I mean, and some teams they might have to win or put in I mean, they might have to put in a really good showing just to make the tournament.
Oh yeah, your bubble teams, that's their conference tournament makes or breaks them, right? So if you're a bubble 60 or 50 to 64, your conference tournament's a huge deal.
Yeah.
If you go out in the first round, you're first out.
Yep.
So that's what I enjoy about college basketball, and the reason I'm bringing this up for listeners is that the the conference tournaments to me are some of the most exciting basketball you're going to see all year. Because for some of those teams, that's their ability to get into the big tournament.
Right. Well, like that, I think to me it's funny, but most of the memorable college basketball performances have been in conference championship, like the tournament.
Right. The conference
Like,
tournaments.
yeah, because I see like I remember what like Randolph Childress went off in the ACC tournament. Who was it for UConn? Had a huge tournament. I can't remember who it was, but it was
Rip
like
Hamilton.
I think so, yeah. And it was, you watch these tournaments and because it's multiple games in a
Right.
row, within like every day. Instead of, in March Madness, you get one game here and then wait a day and then another game for that team.
Right.
And then
And
you
then you
wait
get a week.
a week.
Right. Yeah,
Where
the conference tournaments, it's like a real tournament. Like you're there day after day after day.
Right.
Yeah, I was just I don't know, maybe it was mental statistics, but I was thinking like if I'm looking at teams, I might focus more on their conference tournaments to see
Yeah.
who I think is going to go further in the March Madness bracket.
Yeah.
So I know it's super early, but let's just talk about a winner for a second. No, like Final Fours, no nothing. We'll get into all that later, but you got to pick a team. You got to pick it now. What are you going with? Who wants to lead off? Wes, you want to lead off?
I think right now, I think Houston might be the favorite just because they're a shutdown defensive team. Um, they got length. They can shoot the three. They're in the years past. It seemed like they struggled to score points in spots. They seem like they're better this year. Might be their year.
Yeah, I hate to be boring in the facts, but I agree.
I mean, she's one of the best players in the country.
Yeah, I'm going with Houston as well. And more so for their ability to score as well as play defense. You got to do both of those things in a basketball game to consistently win. Like you can try to outscore every time, but so at some point you got to play defense, and I think Houston does that a little better. So I got to go with Houston as well. But Baylor and Creighton are the two teams that I think you need to watch out for as like long shots.
Yeah, and Indiana State. That's funny. Right now bracketology. They're 11.
Utah State, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
Utah State's 7 projected.
South Florida going to an Elite Eight.
Wait, another sleeper is Tennessee. I think Dalton Connect is. He can get really hot. They got good size, shoot the three well. They're projected 2 seed.
Yeah.
Can't-
Well, they're number one in
Two
SEC.
seed's not a sleeper, bro.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Tennessee, though. When's the last time they made the Final Four?
Yeah.
They just never can get there.
This team's not. Here's my team because I'm just guessing because I haven't really done much research yet. But I'm going to take Marquette.
Yeah,
To win?
Yeah.
they're a 2 seed. They're projected 2 seed right now. Well, they're good. Yeah.
You gotta prove you can beat UConn first.
Yeah. They'll play them
Yeah, they'll play in
March 6th.
Yeah,
But
well,
they've already beaten Creighton. They've beaten
well, they just played UConn like 2 weeks
and
ago,
they
right?
lost big.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, they've beaten Creighton.
Yeah.
They lost to Purdue by 3. They beat no, that's too far back.
Yeah.
They beat
Marquette's good.
Kansas.
I think you still fall into that, like, you gotta beat. It's like the Patriots. Like, somebody had to beat them before you could take over their reign. I don't think Marquette has beat UConn enough to take over their reign.
Well, UConn can choke, and Marquette might not even face them in the
Right.
NCAA tournament.
Right.
So
Yeah, they might not ever meet up. That's 100% the case. But at the end of the day, if they do, I'm still taking UConn over
well, we'll see on March 6th.
them. Well, even if Marquette wins, they're 1-1.
Yeah, but you said, well, let's see if they could beat them, and if they beat them, then they beat them.
And then you look at that, right? That's a huge win for Marquette beats UConn going into the tournament.
Well, considering the game before, they're playing Creighton, so they got Creighton and UConn back to back.
That's tough.
Yeah,
that's real tough.
They shoot Cam Jones. I mean, they shoot Marquette shoots 3 well. Cam Jones 40%, 39%, 38%. All their starters 35. I mean, they hit threes and they get up and down they get it down the court. So it's not a bad pick.
And here's the true sleeper, Wes. They're probably going to be like a 5 or 6 seed. Alabama.
Oh, that's a good. See, that is a sleeper, right? Because they're mid-pack at least. But I think Alabama was, in my opinion, I thought Alabama was considered a top 5 team early in the year.
Yeah,
they got the same amount of losses as the Gators right now.
I think,
but they were much higher respected at the beginning of the year. That happens too, like where teams start high and they move way down, but they still make the tournament, and then all of a sudden that star power starts to show. Like, I could see that from Alabama, 100%.
Yeah, they've been up and down all year.
Right.
They've
and
lost.
Then you don't want to catch them though in an up.
Right.
No, I mean, because Sears is averaging 19 points a game. He's been going off lately. So, I mean,
I like the Alabama pick better than the Marquette pick.
What is he? Yeah. Wow.
That's tough. Because Marquette when's the last time they won a championship ever?
What? Marquette?
I don't think the last time Alabama's won a college basketball championship.
Well,
but that's your long shot, bro. I'm talking about the number one.
Marquette hasn't won. It's that they went when they had
Dwayne Wade.
Wade to win the Final Four.
Maybe they won back in like the
1977. 50s. They won the championship.
77. There you go. Right. So they haven't won in 50 years.
74.
So they haven't won in 50 years.
Yeah, Sears is a beast. He's averaging 20. He's been going off lately.
I don't. Maybe Houston's never won.
I don't think Houston's always gotten close and they choke.
Yeah, I can't think of a year Houston won.
Yeah. Wait a minute. No, they lost to UCLA in 75 or 76.
Right.
I forgot. I don't think they have.
Well, so we got the 2 picks, Houston and Marquette, to win. Got a couple long shots in there if you're listening. Alabama, Baylor. Wes, what did you say?
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah, Houston's been the runner-up twice, and that was Phi Slamma Jamma both years.
Right. Yeah, so that's a few picks. We'll definitely, like I said, as we get into the college tournaments and then the tournament starts, we'll have a bunch more picks. Let's transition over to NFL for a little bit because we love to talk about the NFL. You guys are going to like this topic, but I want to talk about this for a second. So we're going to talk about Russell Wilson, but forget that he's a Bronco for a second. Just minus the Bronco part. So 2 years at Denver, 42 touchdowns, 19 interceptions. Not horrible, right? 90, almost 91 quarterback rating. Similar to Trevor Lawrence, almost similar to Justin Herbert, Baker Mayfield this year, comeback player of the year. But Russell Wilson's washed is what's happening.
So going back to my, like you say, my Russell Wilson hatred. I don't hate Russell Wilson. I hate how much he was getting paid for, or what, all the stuff that happened with him, getting paid and how much they gave up for him in the trade. I think he's a good quarterback. Would I have given up all that to trade for him? Would I have signed him to that huge contract? No. That's where I get my Russell Wilson hate.
No,
it's not
him. What I'm talking about is like future Russell Wilson, right? If you're evaluating him or you're talking about where he should go or should he stay, is that really a fair evaluation of a Baker Mayfield who just got player comeback of the year, is getting signed to a huge extension? Trevor Lawrence, everybody thinks he's great. Justin Herbert literally is like the golden child over there. And he had Russell Wilson numbers.
I wouldn't mind the Raiders taking Russell Wilson on a good deal. I heard the rumor is, and this is hilarious, he's going to take like a minimum because the Broncos still will have to pay him.
To pay the rest, right?
Yeah.
Because if they sign him for half what he's getting paid, the team pays half and the other team pays half. Right. So yeah, if he took minimum, he'd be just sticking it to the Broncos.
Yeah.
$39 million cap hit on the Broncos.
Right.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Well, if they cut him though.
Yeah.
But if a team signs him, they take his whatever salary is, whatever they signed him to. If it's $7 million, is things 15 million. The other team pays 8, or their team pays 8. The other team pays 7.
What Derek, and this is what I heard today, and what Derek's talking about is, as of right now, Russell Wilson's the 4th highest paid player of all time in the NFL, because of basically he's gonna, after this.
Well, his guaranteed money, yeah,
$300 million. They've got top 4. So that's the problem I see too. I think there's teams that could really benefit from having Russ. The Raiders, I hate to say it, yeah, they would. I don't want that. But I think the Steelers is the obvious choice. You got a good team, got a good run
Cody Pickett.
Well, the question though is, were his stats that bad to like end up in positions he's in?
No.
Comparatively, like he was very equal across middle range quarterbacks.
That's the thing. There was just a narrative that just kind of snowballed, especially when Sean Payton became the coach, and he didn't like what was going on with Russell Wilson being kind of special and set apart from the team, and their relationship just kind of fell apart. And I think that's the biggest problem, is Sean Payton's attitude towards him kind of create this narrative, and the yelling on the sideline, which I think is stupid. It's just not a good look for Sean Payton, because another free agent guy comes in, let's just say it's Kirk Cousins. You think he's going to be like, hey, I want to go to that team if I'm going to be treated like that? So I think a lot of it's Sean Payton. A lot of it was his first year and getting paid all that freaking money and not having that great of a year.
No, he definitely needs control of the team. That's what makes him a successful coach, though.
Drew Brees made him a successful coach.
Right. Well, yeah, But here's the thing. Obviously, he does not want Russell Wilson, so I can't see him I can't see them keeping him. Like, they're really
Yeah,
gonna.
and I mean, the thing is Russell Wilson's gone, right? He's going
Yeah,
somewhere. The question I had was is why are people questioning his ability even at this point? If you're talking about mid-level teams, like he was as good as your mid-level quarterbacks.
Well, because he's supposed to be a lot better than your mid-level quarterback. Plus, his first year was a disaster. This last past year, he did great actually. He was doing really well, but he got benched.
Yeah, that was about not getting him hurt.
Right, but it's more about like the Broncos had a chance to make the playoffs and they benched him because they didn't want him anymore. So
Yeah.
that's the narrative there is like, well, they could have made the playoffs, but they really would rather not have him and miss the playoffs.
I don't think they wouldn't rather have him. I think Sean Payton wouldn't rather have his contract.
Yeah.
Because that's what it really comes down to. Because that contract, like it puts so many handcuffs on Peyton as far as signing and having that free money.
You're still going to get screwed with the cap hit.
But not if
At
somebody
least when he's
signs him
on the roster. Look at the Saints. If he's on the roster, you can massage contracts to get cap room.
Right, but you don't lose the cap hit if somebody else signs him and you pay, together. What you get a cap hit if you just cut someone.
Well, he is just cutting him though.
But
He's not
like, yeah, no, I'm saying if like somebody's like, hey, we'll give you a seventh round, sixth round pick, whatever, they can make a trade for him.
Yeah, no one's gonna do that though.
Well, their
I
salary.
might take a Russell Wilson for a sixth round pick if I'm like Washington or Pittsburgh or
I don't know. Does the NFL do that though? I think that's more of an NBA thing. I don't think they take money like
no. All you're doing. You're taking the trade. You're gonna the cap hit just comes with whatever the salary is. But
but I
if
don't think that's anyone's gonna want to trade for Russell Wilson with that cap hit.
right, that you gotta be willing to do. But it's a
So the
lot
only way that's
less.
happening is if you're doing a Brock Osweiler and you're the Broncos and you're like, here's my first round pick and Russell Wilson. That's the only way you're going to be able to trade Russell Wilson is if you give up something else like a draft pick to another team to take his contract.
Yeah, because they're not going to trade him. But if they cut him, Broncos take most of the cap hit, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they take over 30 million. The problem is salary they get they're in a they're like 20 million underwater, and most of it's because of him. So if they actually want to have a decent team this year and they don't want him on the team, you better move him now so you can at least get another player like Kirk Cousins or get some free agents. Because right now, I don't care, they're not good.
Okay,
And
so here's they so let's see here. The transaction will result in an $89 million cap charge. Horizon. The Broncos can either take the entire hit in 2024 of 39 million. No, sorry, $89 million cap hit. If they designate him post June 1st, it's a $35 million cap hit this coming year and a $53 million cap hit the next year.
crap. Oh my God.
So
That's just horrific.
That's why they need a trade.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you have to trade him.
Yeah.
But I guess the
But
question is
who's gonna do that trade?
why don't you
You
just
can
run
wait
with
till they cut him.
why wouldn't you just roll with him then though? It's a 90 passer rating over the last 2 years. Maybe it was 95 this year, 85 last year. Doesn't matter, right? Either way, he's over a 90 passer rating. very positive on the touchdown to interception ratio. Like, why not just roll with him?
I would, but I don't
Is
know
it a
what.
Sean Payton thing?
Yeah, definitely.
Sean Payton thing. It's the problem. And that's the thing.
Right.
Sean Payton kind of did to himself there. That's why it's one thing to come out and because all the stories that came out, how he started like behind the scenes, like kind of telling Russell Wilson, "Hey, dude, just stop. Stop kissing babies here. You're not a politician." All that stuff. Okay, that's fine. That's behind the scenes. But when you're freaking on the sidelines, when he makes it's not even his fault, and you're yelling at him, braiding him like that. It's just a bad look. And I don't know if you can undo that, going forward. Obviously, he just doesn't care for it. So that's the problem. They should be professionals and they should work it out. A lot of quarterbacks, look at what Bill Parcells did to Phil Simms. And that's Phil Simms. He's like a Russell Wilson. He's a nice guy, but you used to yell at Phil Simms. I mean, that happened all the time in the 80s. It's really not that big of a deal. They can get over it. They might have to get over it because that, I don't think anybody's going to want to deal with that. I don't think they're going to want to share it.
So let's talk more draft stuff. I mean, I know it's going to be a long topic for a lot of years. Not a lot of years, but a lot of months. So first of all, let's start with Justin Fields. I want my opinion. Nobody wants my opinion because I'm a Bears fan. So we want to hear your guys' opinion when you see stuff like, Justin Fields has had 3 offensive coordinators. He's still excelled in certain areas, similar stats to Lamar Jackson over the last couple of years. Is that a person that you already are getting rid of? You're already saying we're going to replace this quarterback? Like, what are you guys doing in that position?
I am. I mean, we could say the same thing. Derek Carr had like 9 offensive coordinators in 10 years, right? And that sucks, but you still got to win. And this way, they get Caleb Williams, and then with the second pick, they get either a Dunze or Brock Bowers or one of the tackles, right? And they've got like the 3rd most cap space, so they can go out and get a bunch of players. Plus, they can get a 2nd or 3rd rounder for Fields.
Right. So you're adding an additional draft pick too.
Yeah.
So that seems like the logical GM position, right?
Yeah. I just don't know I understand last year because none of us were really high on Bryce. Like, we didn't think like Bryce, he was good, but we weren't like thinking generational quarterback.
Right.
Bears I know it wasn't their fault because lots of teams didn't. Remember, they already took Trubisky over Mahomes, right? Do you really want to not take Caleb Williams, who's
right? I mean, everybody's throwing that out there, right? Like you want to skip on the talent again. But even though nobody knew Mahomes the talent, he went 10th.
right?
Yeah, so that's all valid GM points. And I guess the question is like, does Justin Fields play any part in your decision? Like, do you watch him and say he can take us to a championship?
I haven't seen the passing yet from him, and it could be Getsy, it could have been, but like dynamic, yes. But can I trust him in the pocket? No.
Right. And those are, I think, the 2 things you got to look at. So, Wes, we have your same evaluation.
Yeah, I think you have to go. I think you have to trade Field and go after Caleb, or I think the unknown factor of Fields in the pocket and his decision making. I mean, he did rank pretty low in a lot of categories when it within the pocket in certain situations that I saw. And you know, the coaching, I think the problem is I still think you get Caleb Williams. I don't think Eberflus is going to last very long. You can't get rid of two guys at this point because you keep Fields. They struggle next year. Then it's like, okay, coach is gone. What do you do with Fields? You're going to be in the same situation. I think you gotta roll Caleb Williams. You can see how he does in his first year. You don't have to pay. He could be on a rookie contract and get other players. You can get a Duze, like he needs another weapon, get a Duze. It's a situation where I just think you got to go with Caleb Williams at this point. You can't pass on the number one pick and pass on a quarterback that could be your franchise quarterback and an all-pro.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Even as a Bears fan, I think both of those evaluations are probably correct because Caleb Williams with DJ Williams and Ndunze, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you argue that and then save yourself $200 million?
Yeah.
So it's hard. And I think it doesn't do very good justice to someone like, Justin Fields because he may get put in a worse situation. You never know.
Well, if the rumors are correct about the Falcons, which it seems like there's some strange things going on in social media when it comes to that, how he stopped following the Bears, and then I think he went back and.
Well, he talked about that. He stopped following the Bears because he was on vacation and didn't want to deal with a bunch of getting tagged and stuff. So
Right.
And here, if you're going to the Falcons, and there's a lot of questions. Let's say he did go to the Falcons, like that's a big question mark. You can't make it. It doesn't matter because let's say Caleb, maybe he's not the guy in a couple of years, whatever. You're not sacrificing that much money here. You got to figure out the guy. He's going to be the guy, and the only way you're going to do that is to draft him and get rid of Fields. And Fields got to fall on the sword. But is he really? He's going to. If he went to the Falcons, look at those weapons. And if he's not good with the Falcons, then he's not good.
Yeah, no, I think I'd rather see him go to Pittsburgh personally.
Huh? What if he went to the Steelers?
That's what I'm saying. I'd rather see him go there.
Well, of course I would too, but I don't think that's going to happen.
do you think he could beat out Cody Pickett?
Yeah. That's tough.
If he can't beat out Cody Pickett, you're the happiest man ever with your pick. There's the true test. If he can't beat out Mittens, you cannot beat.
Well, so I mean, there's a lot of draft stuff happening and lots to talk about. I will say it is one of the most interesting drafts that I think is coming up. I thought last year was really interesting. But this year, I think will play out for a lot of teams like future of their franchise. So there's going to be some people who make some decisions here that I don't think are going to be very good. I think one of them is going to be with the Bears because there's going to either somebody's going to offer them an incredible trade, they're not going to take it, and then they're going to draft Caleb Williams, he's not going to be good, or they're going to take a great trade and then Drake May is going to suck, and Caleb Williams is going to be the next Patrick Mahomes. That's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what the Bears do, it'll be wrong.
Well, yeah, it would be like the Bears trade with the Commanders and then take Drake May.
Right.
And then Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels are the two cornerstone quarterbacks in the NFL.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
What it is is it's the Bears passing on Patrick Mahomes or Trubisky, and then the next Patrick Mahomes is Caleb Williams, and he's like Trubisky. That would be the ultimate.
No, well, I'm saying that's one of the two possibilities. One of the two possibilities is they draft Drake May, or no, they draft Caleb Williams, and he's awful. The second possibility is they pass on Caleb Williams, get back to Drake May, and then Caleb Williams is great.
Yeah.
Well, remember who was it that Merrill Hodge said? Manziel, right? He said he's going to be horrible.
Dude.
Merrill Hodge said both Caleb Williams and Drake May are going to be bad.
He also said Trubisky was one of the best quarterbacks in his class. So,
okay, then we better not.
I don't think I'm not going with Merrill Hodge at this point because he called Manziel. I'm going to go with the other three ones that he talked about. That was like not right.
But you cannot just like get Drake May, who's another North Carolina quarterback, dude. Like Trubisky did. And
they couldn't, there's no way they would take Jaden Daniels because then everyone would be like, oh, well, he's just another running.
The dude won't even throw at the combine? Are you kidding me?
None of that.
Dude, Wes, nobody's throwing at the combine, just so you know.
But it doesn't, but Drake May's the one guy that you're like, man, he looks good, but I haven't seen a lot of him. We've seen a lot of Caleb. We've seen a lot of Jaden Daniels. Drake Mays, he played at North Carolina. It's like,
well, they're getting smart. You know why? Why? There's nowhere but down at the combine because you can't control the variables that you can at your pro day.
Well, and you can't. You already have what's in place. Why do you want to give them the chance to move you down? If I'm Caleb Williams, I'm already considered the number one prospect. The only thing throwing can do is move me down.
Right. And that's what happened to Penix at the Senior Bowl. He had a horrible Senior Bowl practice and everything, and now all of a sudden they're talking second, third rounder with him.
But it's also optic. Look what happened last year. Did Stroud say, you know what, I'm not going to throw? He threw and he balled, right? So what did both top quarterbacks, they threw there. I mean, it didn't really matter. They still, Stroud went too.
But here's the crazy thing is Stroud looked ridiculous at the combine.
And he still went too.
Which also makes sense how good he looked in the season.
He should have went one the way he looked at the freaking combine.
He was throwing dots, dude. And they were far too. It wasn't like a 20-yard dot, dude. He was throwing like a 50-yard dot.
Well, though, come on. If we were going to say Anthony Richardson stole that combine, though.
Well, overall statistics for sure. We're just talking about at those 20 to 50-yard throws. Stroud was killing them.
Yeah.
And they all see, that's the thing. All three of them. Bryce Young is the one that should. It's like, you know what? Why did he have to do it? Because all he's going to do is look like a small shrimp to the other. Well, he
still went number one.
That's why I'm saying they all went in the combine. It didn't affect where they went.
Yeah, but last year, this year's more defined roles. Last year everyone was like, who's gonna, we don't know who's the number one quarterback. We don't know who's gonna take a quarterback. We don't. This year it's like 1, 2, 3 is quarterbacks.
It is the same order. Everybody has it. Caleb Williams.
I've seen
Drake
some
May,
Jaden too,
Daniels.
but yeah,
nobody that really knows what they're talking about has Daniels at 2. As far as like what's going to happen,
right?
It's Williams, May, Daniels. Like that's the top 3. There's no change in it.
But yeah, the combine is for Penix, Nix, and McCarthy.
Right.
Especially McCarthy.
Oh, it's huge for McCarthy. Huge. Like you need to go in there and show that you can be an NFL style quarterback in a combine.
I saw a mock draft that McCarthy was going to Atlanta at 8.
No.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Why?
Completely. No way.
Yeah,
Watch.
I mean, well, it is Atlanta, so
Okay. Last year I said, watch Anthony Richardson in the combine. He's going to go crazy. This year I'm going to say it's going to be McCarthy. He's going to get the wows.
you think so, huh?
It's not a game, he can make the throws, and that's what's going to, everyone's going to
Hmm.
vault him because he'll have the look. And he
Well,
won
and
national
he's
championship.
he's the Michigan guy, I mean, he's the champion. He definitely is going to get the advantage. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I think McCarthy probably more than anybody else could move more spots from the combine.
Yeah.
Like he can probably move forward more than anybody else by competing in every aspect of the combine.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know that helps Penix a lot. I think Penix might lose out in that because more of his abilities on the field.
Yeah, he had a horrible Senior Bowl practice, and then he didn't play in the game because he hurt himself. He needs to show out. He's already dropping.
I don't think his straight ability is like, strong arm and throwing routes. I think it's what he does in the pocket, moving around. It might hurt him in the combine.
Then you got the interviews and everything too, though.
Yeah, he'll do well in that for sure. Wonderlick, I'm sure he'll have a great score. Like he went to Indiana to start, so
Who knows if Nix does well, he could creep into the top 10 too. You could have 5 quarterbacks in the top 10. Who knows? That'd be crazy.
Because you'll probably have teams moving up.
Yeah.
They might even move up for Knicks. You never know. Because a lot of teams need quarterback forward to it.
Well, you got the Falcons, Vikings, Broncos, Raiders, right? All within.
Yeah.
So, and everyone needs to jump the Falcons unless they get Fields.
yeah, but they get in the same position though with Chicago. Do you want to keep him for that 5th year?
Right.
Do you want to sign him to the big contract? Because it's a $200 million contract. It doesn't matter.
Right. Franchise tag.
Right. Even then, you still got to let him go the next year. I don't think that's the problem with all these teams. Like they don't want to be in that $200 million contract. But that's pretty standard now.
Mm.
You're asking for like a mid-range guy now at the $200 million range.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Daniel Jones, perfect example.
Well, now you're starting to hear that the Giants might move up because they're done with Jones. You never know. Get Drake May.
Yeah, then you got to give away a lot of capital though. Like, what can the Giants get for a higher first round? What are they going to give? That's crazy. You'd give next year's first and second.
Well, they're at 6, so they'd have to move up like 3 spots.
Well, you're not going to give another in this year, probably, but still, you're probably giving up 2 picks.
They got 2 second-round picks, I guess, this year. And give them 1. I don't know. Well,
I guess we won't really find out anything until free agency starts and we find out where like Kirk Cousins goes. What happens with Russell Wilson?
Right.
Does Fields get traded? Who knows? You could have Cousins on stays with the Vikings. You can have Fields with the Falcons, and you have Wilson staying with the Broncos. Then all of a sudden, you're like, okay, those teams don't need quarterbacks now.
Yeah, that changes quite a bit. I think Cousins is a big one because you never know where he's going to end up. All right, well, let's jump out of the NFL. It's good talk about NFL, but we're as in season 5, episode 1. We're going to start with a top 5 because we're going to get a lot of top 5s throughout the summer here. So let's talk about today's top 5. Top 5 Disney animated movies. This is a tough one.
Well, we got Steve with a daughter. I've got a son. Wes is the bachelor. So we can have all different types of movies that we've been watching.
A lot of these,
Wes
though,
is
we
probably
saw as
from
a
when he's a
kid
kid.
anyway, though. Like, we saw these as children.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have children because you were the child when you watched this.
A lot of mine are newer, though.
But they go back to like 1930, dude.
Yes.
For some of the real good ones. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, Derek, you lead us off. 1 second. Go ahead.
My number 5, Caitlin's number 5, and Grayson's number 5 is all the same. And that is Wall-E. Wall-E. Which Wes has probably never seen.
I didn't know what you're talking about.
You've never even heard of Wall-E?
Yeah, I was watching Super Bowls at 6. What up?
Wall-E was your number 5?
Yes.
That's good. I like Wall-E.
I don't even remember. I probably did.
It's new. It's not, I mean, not new, but it's the last 20 years.
Well, Wes, just jump on Plex and watch Wall-E. All right, Wes, what do you got at number 5?
Hey, I got Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Number 5.
Good.
I liked it as a kid. It's probably because of the dwarfs. But yeah. 1937. Like you said, 1930.
Yeah, that's an old one.
Was it up for Best Picture?
No. It wasn't.
Yeah, I do enjoy the Snow White, so that's not a bad pick either. I think both of them are good so far. My number 5 is Beauty and the Beast. So
That was up for Best Picture. I think that's the only one that was up for Best Picture.
it was good in a lot of parts, but it wasn't great throughout, but good enough definitely to make top 5.
Well, Gaston is awesome.
Yes, he's 12 eggs a day.
Yeah.
Or more. So good. I like it. I mean, there were some parts in it that turned me off, which that's what it could have been higher. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, Wes, what do you got at 4?
I got The Lion King. I don't know. It's, I don't know. It's something about a bunch of animals talking. And, uh, it's just, someone compared it that it's like a Shakespearean tragedy. And someone said that, I was like, oh yeah, it kind of is. That's probably why I like
I mean, it's good. And I have The Lion King at 4. You know, The Lion King could easily be number 1. Could easily.
it. Should be number 1 for
But here, let me tell you why it's not. The whole Timon and Pumbaa thing totally ruins it from a number 1 like epic movie. Totally for me. That's not for everybody, but for me, would have been number 1 easily. But that part of the movie and a lot of what happens after that in the movie, like just turns me more off. I don't like it. So this could be number one, but I got number four, Lion King. We got Derek.
Well, because Grayson's number 4 is 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah.
Caitlin's number 4 is Encanto.
Oh,
And
okay.
mine is Zootopia.
Wait, did you give their fives? I must
Yeah, it was
miss that.
Wally. We all had Wally as
Oh,
5.
all of you had Wally as five. Okay.
Yeah, we love Wally.
So give their fives again.
Grayson's was 101 Dalmatians, and Caitlin's was Encanto.
Okay. Or their
And
fours.
mine
I'm
was
sorry.
Zootopia.
Zootopia at four. You got Zootopia in the top five.
Zootopia is awesome. I love Zootopia. I can watch that one so many times.
You have to sell me on that.
Really? You don't like Zootopia?
I'm not saying I don't like it. You're talking about top five ever.
Well, because the problem is tell me this. Are you going to watch Dumbo over and over and over again? No. You going to watch Bambi over and over and over again? No.
Kind of did.
Well, I did.
I know, but
I didn't realize
You're like, you had nothing else to watch.
no, I could watch Zootopia over and over and over again. It's
Okay. I mean, I've probably seen it a couple times, so that's good. Okay. All right. Zootopia in their top four. Number three, I think this is me leading off. I got Moana here. Wes, have you seen Moana?
I have not.
Oh, jeez, dude.
that's a good one too.
Again, could be a top, but there's a couple parts in it that like pull away from the overall quality. Sorry, The Rock. But
Maui?
overall, movie's great. I got a top three. I'll give it. Everybody I think should see Moana. So Moana's my three.
Well, Grayson's 3 is close to that, but it's not Moana. It's Lilo and Stitch. He loves Lilo and
That's
Stitch.
good.
And
That was Disney, huh? I didn't
Yeah.
have that.
And then Caitlin and mine was Moana. Both of ours was Moana.
So all of us got Moana. Wes, what do you got at three?
I don't even want to know, guys. This is dumb.
I'm guessing it's not Moana.
I'm guessing it's from like the 30s, 40s, or 50s.
It's Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty. Which Brooklyn made a good case for Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah. Well, at least okay. Yeah. I mean, it's what I grew up with. Like it was. I guess it's probably because Sleeping Beauty was kind of hot. About it.
Well, that movie puts me to sleep.
There's nothing wrong with Sleeping Beauty.
No, there's not. She's like a 10.
She's a 10. Did you see Little Mermaid on TV last night? Oh, Ariel, she's so hot, man. Dude, she's a mermaid. Not when she's on land, Oz. It's a little throwback to the American Pie. It's so good.
Nice.
So Wes is going with Sleeping Beauty at three. All right, number two, Derek. What do you got?
Grayson's got Big Hero 6.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Caitlin's got The Lion King. And I'm going to go with a classic here, The Jungle Book.
Jungle Book. Well, let's make an argument for The Jungle Book here.
Great soundtrack, great story. I mean, you got it's the man cub trying to get away from Shere Khan. You got the Ka the snake, who's can hypnotize you with his eyes to kill you. You got the Beatles in it, and well, people pretending to be the Beatles as the what was it?
Yeah, the man
vultures.
cub is so funny because you think about it's like there's Tarzan
Yeah,
and then there's the man cub.
and you got King Louis. Come on, man.
Oh, it's great. It's definitely was a talked about movie.
Baloo.
The bare necessities. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So I can dig that. I like it. Wes, what do you got to
I already told you what it's number 2. Come on, guys. The Little Mermaid.
do?
I mean,
Ariel, man, she's so hot.
I have a thing for redheads,
Not when she's on land, Wes.
Yeah, and she's a 12. She's a 12 out of 10.
I
No,
mean, Little Mermaid's good. It's a little unbelievable though.
I like the
yeah,
songs.
again, songs are good. It actually won 2 Oscars,
Right.
but it wasn't up for Best Picture.
It's the whole Ursula thing. Kind of I'm not a big fan of that.
Dude, I can get past it.
Yeah, I can get past it.
As a kid, it's just like you're not
Okay. I mean it's if you're talking to Holly, you'd be good. It's just not in my top 5. Number 2, I got Cinderella. I mean, if you don't love a good Cinderella, there's something wrong with you. The slipper, and you gotta go find the slipper, and it's just, I mean, it's great. The storyline, could use a little bit of oomph, but it's an old movie, so not much you can do wrong there. I definitely could easily be number 1, but I'm putting number 2. Derek's your number 2, right?
No, I'm done. I did mine. It's
Oh, so
Wes's
then
number
it's
one
your
now.
number 1. What you got at 1, Derek?
Okay, Grayson's got The Lion King. Caitlin's got Mulan, and I've got a tie at 1.
Oh, what?
you did what? What's going on here?
Well, because one, you guys are going to freak out and say it's stupid that I got it 1, and the other is my
Oh, you have
childhood
a
number
tie.
1.
Okay. Okay. He has a tie.
Yeah. Tangled
Okay.
and The Black Cauldron.
Wow. Both questionable. I gotta be honest.
The Black Cauldron was from our generation, and
Right.
we didn't have very many movies from our generation. It almost didn't get made because they were going to make it PG-13.
But Entangled?
Oh, I love Tangled. The music in
Or
Tangled is
Tangled?
great.
Number 1, huh?
Oh, yeah. I jammed to Tangled. I could watch Tangled.
Just listening to the music. He's like, I don't care about what's happening.
I could just listen to the soundtrack. I like the story too. I like Zachary Levi's character. He's hilarious. And the horse.
No, it's really bad when the horse is the best. The horse is the best.
I did not expect that. All right.
I mean, that's good.
I thought you were going to say Mary Poppins for a minute.
That's
not
not animated.
Wes. Come on.
That would be number 1 Disney movie of all time, though.
Would it?
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't-
Of
I
all
didn't-
time? Mary
Yeah.
Poppins? Let's take a short pause here on Wes's pick. Mary Poppins. Best Disney movie. Doesn't matter, animated or not.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going for?
I mean, it won 5 Oscars, nominated for Best Picture,
In what year?
1965.
1965.
I mean, Julie Andrews won Best Actress.
Yeah.
I mean, most of what comes up is animated, so it might be
What are you
very
going to
well could be
Peter
Mary
wore tennis
Poppins.
shoes or Escape from Witch Mountain?
Escape
Apple
from Witch Mountain.
Dumpling Gang?
Oh, I love the Apple Dumpling Gang.
Yeah. I do too, but it doesn't compare to Mary Poppins. Shaggy Dog.
Why are you naming all my favorite movies from as a kid?
You just do a Kurt Russell Disney movie top 5.
All right, Wes. What do you got at number one?
I got to go with Beauty and the Beast.
It's hard not to go with it.
It's the
So good.
first feature to ever be nominated for Best Picture, and it's just kind of like one of those things. It's almost like, you got a couple here. It would be like me and Natalie Portman. Back.
I don't know that you and Natalie Portman go in the same sentence, but go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I mean, top 5. It's got to be, if anything. But I don't know. I've seen it more late. There's like the newest, most recent Disney movie I've seen multiple times.
I mean, they like to talk about how like Disney like wasn't very, it was kind of racist or whatever. But look at what happened to that guy in Beauty and the Beast, Like he was like, what's his
Yeah.
name? The white guy, the big huge white guy. What's his name?
Gaston?
Gaston, right?
Yeah, he got screwed.
At the end, what happens? He loses. So you already kept the white man down in Beauty and the Beast. Like, don't say you guys weren't doing that.
Oh man, so I have to disqualify one of my movies. I didn't realize.
It's not a Disney movie.
Well, Wall-E is Pixar.
Disney Pixar. That's Pixar. Yep.
And
Well, I'm about to give you my number one, which is Pixar.
Toy Story.
It's Toy Story. It's revolutionary. I mean, and even if you were an older kid, you could watch Toy Story.
All right.
So it was really for all ages. You had your little kids watching it, you had your teenagers watching it, and it was just really well done. So I got to take Toy Story at number one. So we got Toy Story, Wes. You got Beauty and the Beast, and Derek had Willow.
Tangled. And Caitlin, honorable mention that no one mentioned, but Caitlin has as her number one is Mulan.
Yeah, I like Mulan. Mulan was very close, but I can only have one, you know, Pacific Asian Islander on my team, and I took Moana.
And Caitlin's is pretty well, like, if you look at hers, she had Mulan and
Moana.
Moana, Encanto, Lion King, and that's Africa, and then Wall-E is outer space.
Right.
So
She's like zero Americans in my Disney
yeah.
life. I know I like the top fives. It was surprising to me how much differentiations we had, and Wes was like, just if it wasn't made between 1940 and 60, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm surprised no like Dumbo, Pinocchio, Peter Pan.
Well,
They made
Dumbo.
some new movies, Wes, just so you know. And they're on Plex, dude, so you can watch all of them.
There you go, Wes. When you can't sleep, pop
Throw
in.
on a Disney movie.
I'm a 70s guy, man. 70s, 80s. Bring back the 80s, man.
Yeah, that's rough.
I don't know, Wes. You got to watch Moana. That's a good one.
Well, that was
That does sound intriguing.
look, Moana was mine, Derek's, and Caitlin's number 3.
That does sound intriguing.
So I think that's definitely something you gotta watch.
Well, what we figured out with watching for Grayson hates movies where relatives are jerks.
Well, because nobody likes relatives that are jerks.
Right, but that's Moana,
Right.
Encanto, Coco. Um, there's more.
Coco's pretty good. I
Coco
like that
was
one.
close to my, but all of those, it's like the real, like, the grandmother or someone's telling him you can't do something.
Right.
He hates those. Like he loves the music from them, but he hates the story because like I can't handle that person. Like in Canto, we have to fast forward through like just we have to fast forward to the songs, and then he watches that, but he can't handle the grandma.
Don't tell me what I can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's funny is Brooklyn's top 5 are all old movies. Like she named everything that Wes named.
Well, we haven't gotten Grayson to watch the older movies because a lot of they scarred us, Dumbo, Pinocchio. Like when Pinocchio runs away, that's kind of messed up.
Bambi should be number,
Bambi.
but I
Oh,
can't.
dude, Bambi's horrible.
It is. It's horrible. It's
Yeah,
trauma.
don't get into like the Pinocchio in the bar scene where they're talking about children trafficking. You're like, this is like a 1940 movie. Dude, watch Pinocchio in the bar scene. I'm just telling you, just
Oh,
watch
I
it.
know it's bad.
But really, really just listen to it. It's like going back and listen to like all these songs we used to listen to in the 90s. And you're like, oh, such a good beat, such a good music. But then you go back and listen to the words. We're talking about taking meth and doing all these things. You're like, wait a minute, I didn't know that's what that song was about. It
Right.
just sounded really cool. You'll be surprised. It's a pretty funny experiment to go back and look at a lot of the words to the songs you used to like. They're pretty crazy. All right, so that was our top 5. We got next week. Keep talking March Madness. Get closer to that. Hopefully more football talk, NFL, see what trades happen. And then get into more top 5s as we go on to the next weeks. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, especially Spotify. Appreciate the listens. Uh, there we go. Wrap it up. Getting into March Madness. We'll see you guys next time.